Hey guys, Strutter here. September 5th, 2022. Long time no talk. Hello to YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, and other platforms that I upload my videos to. This is rent priced in silver. In other words, how many ounces of physical silver does it take to pay the rent? And I'm using my own anecdotal data here over the past 15 years to make this calculation. And starting at 2007, I have data points also at 2012, 2017, and of course this year at 2022. In general, the price of rent has increased fairly steadily. There was a bit of a drop in 2008, I think, when the real estate market went down and such, but it really didn't impact really anybody, and it was very short-lived and continued to climb after that. So, and then in the past couple of years, especially just in this past 6 months even, or even the past 2 months since the Bank of Canada raised mortgage rates by 0.75%, the rental market has just gone into overdrive. I won't get into it, but we are also importing a large number of people from other countries as refugees, and they are automatically set up with top-notch rental situations, all covered and all paid for, and none of them ever go homeless. But we have a massive homeless problem now developing with Canadians. People who have been living here and paying taxes their whole lives are on the street because even if they have money and jobs, they are not able to find a place. It's absolutely insane here. And I'm living in one of the worst provinces, British Columbia, and I happen to also be in one of the worst parts of that province. And no, I cannot easily move. I could possibly move to other parts of BC with great difficulty, but my wife is crippled. I'm disabled, and I have 2 young children, so we cannot drive. So it's not easy for us to do moves, but we are having to do so. I'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to show you this chart, and this is, of course, showing that silver bullion has not been holding up against real monthly costs like rent. And you could do this against food and other things that have been going up, especially in the past year. As you know, hyperinflation is coming, and 10% inflation is now normal. It's actually more like 15 or 20% in most Western countries, or even higher, but they're saying it's 8 or 9% in most places. But if you look at shadow stats, that's not the case. So we know inflation is really bad, and it is, unfortunately, for us people who have followed silver or may own silver, or some of us may invest in large amounts of silver, or have some as a savings, etc., etc. We are obviously not happy with silver now at $18 US, after falling from the approximately $30 level where it tested recently the past few years, after sitting at $16 for several years, which is after falling from $50 US, or 49 something, as we all remember, in 2011. So, and then I've been in this channel since 2008, when I started doing silver videos, or early 2009 is actually when I first did my first silver video, and the price then was just coming up from that drop to $9, so it was about $11 or $12 when I first started talking about it. And so anyway, this is in Canadian dollars, and this is using Canadian housing prices. In my own experience, I've been renting the past 15 years. Before that I was owning houses, but in the last 15 years I've been renting, so I have this data now. And as you can see, in 2007 there was 39 silver maples required to pay your monthly rent. So you were paying just over 1 silver maple, 1 ounce, troy ounce, physical silver coin, and you're paying 1 per day, or over 1 per day, so 39 per month. And then in 2012, of course, we had the real estate market had recovered and was continuing upward slowly, but the silver price was actually going wild. We had that pushed in 2011, I had mentioned, and in 2012 it was still fairly high. So it only took 21 and a half silver maples to pay the rent in 2012. So a nice drop, almost 50% drop. But then the next data point I have is for 2017, as prices in the real estate and rental markets continued to climb, and the price of silver did not. So we had a situation where, again, it was about 43 silver maples per month, so a little bit more expensive even than it had been in 2007. So silver was not holding up at that point, and it was losing against real things like rent. And now, of course, we see in 2022 silver has not gone up at all since the last data point in 2017. It's about the same price, and unfortunately, and I am counting for premiums as well too, by the way. Premiums used to be about $3 a coin in 2017, and they're now about $9 a coin. So I'm adding that in. So this is the actual price of actual silver maples to get them from, you know, a local shop and put them in hand. If you were able to pay your rent in silver maples, you would need 39 in 2007, 21.5 in 2012, then 43 in 2017, and now unfortunately in 2022 you need 67 1-ounce silver maple leaf coins to pay your rent. So silver, as I said, is not holding up against real costs like rent. And I think, I'm not going to talk about it too much here, but I think most of us on this channel understand why. Because rent is a little bit harder to manipulate. I'm sure that the rental market is manipulated, and housing and stuff is manipulated, absolutely. Nothing is unmanipulated in this on-free market we currently are in. But it is harder to manipulate than silver. And silver and gold are absolutely easy to manipulate because we've turned the price into an ETF, a piece of digital information that just comes to us on a screen. It has nothing to do with the price to mine it or the price that's actually on the street for these physical coins. It is a price on a screen, and that ETF is of course traded and of course is heavily manipulated and heavily controlled. We know that, no longer a conspiracy theory. It is well known and established even in the mainstream that gold is totally manipulated. Nothing has been done, but there we have it. We know that silver and gold prices are manipulated. So that is why it's not holding up against real things that are harder to manipulate. It's because it's easy to manipulate, and it is being manipulated. At some point that will revert. At some point manipulation, of course, always ends. It can never go forever. The true price, the true value of things, and the truth itself is ultimately eventually known, no matter what the lies, propaganda, censorship, manipulation, and everything else that can be put on top of that. Those are not the truth. Those are not the real reality. And eventually, I'm not saying right away, but eventually all truth will be known. And eventually this all will come to light as well too, what's been going on here right now. Those of us that have been stacking silver for, in my case, 15 years, in some people's cases much longer even, we will be vindicated. We will also do perhaps very well, some of us that have a lot of silver. It would take quite a price change for me to benefit from that, because I've had some financial troubles the past 10 years or so. But there's going to be a lot of happy people, I think, and a lot of good people, because it tends to be a lot of good people that are invested in precious metals. That is an oversimplification, of course, but we are a good bunch. I've always liked and enjoyed meeting people in the silver community, both online and at coin shops and so on. Silver people tend to be good people, and precious metals investors tend to be a little more down to earth and a little bit more outside of the banking system, which I like about people. So I would personally be happy to see gold and silver finally do well and finally start holding up against things like rent. Wouldn't it be nice if in 2027 I could do an update to this and it would be down, say, at maybe 5 silver maples to pay the monthly rent, or maybe 4, so it's just 1 per week, right? That would qualify as a precious metal, wouldn't it? A big 1 troy ounce slab of precious metal that you slam down on your landlord's counter every week and say, there's the rent, paid, right? That's a precious metal. But right now what we're dealing with is 67 tubes and stacks of precious metal to pay 30 days rent. And where does that money go? It's gone, right? So now, on that note, the owner of the house I've been renting for 3 years now, here in the Okanagan region, the interior of British Columbia, after moving up from Vancouver having been there a long time. The owner has decided to sell it, and it is now already sold. That price, or that interest rate change at the Bank of Canada, really spooked a lot of people, and a lot of people think the housing market's going to collapse. So they have been selling, and that includes the owner of this house. So the buyer of the house has requested it to be empty when he takes possession of it, so that he can move in family, come in over from the Philippines. So I unfortunately have to get out of here through no fault of my own, and no fault of my family's. We are being evicted, and it is a legal eviction. They can do that to move in family from overseas. So that is what is going to happen, and I have until noon on Halloween to be in a safe new rental with our two babies, a toddler and a baby. So I'm making this video in part to begin, I guess, a search, because I've been searching everywhere else already for somewhere for us to go. So I'm expanding my search, and I at one time had 9,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I had thousands of views on every video, but I don't think that is going to happen here. But anyway, I do my best, and I continue to try and beat the shadow banning and the censorship that this channel has been under since about 2012, and just been shrinking and shrinking and shrinking ever since, unable to reach even my own subscribers. And I use a lot of other platforms, of course, which are less manipulated, but nobody knows that I'm there, and nobody follows me there when I post links. So I've had a real tough time connecting with my subscribers. I used to have a flourishing channel. It was a viral channel. I'd have literally 5,000 views on anything I said. Every single, go back to all my old early videos, I'd show a coin or something, or I'd look, this is my backyard, 5,000 views. Now it's maybe 230 views or something on a video. No matter what kind of quality or how good of a video it is, it doesn't matter. So, and I've documented that the whole way through, just being totally choked out and squeezed out. So if you're still here, congratulations and thank you. But as you may know, I'm unbanked. I can't and won't use a bank. So I can't get a mortgage also from a bank. That's impossible. Even if I could, they wouldn't do it. It's impossible for me to get a mortgage. So my option is to either live with family, and I currently don't have any supportive family at all. I've lost everybody as a result of my activism, my YouTube channel, my cannabis activism leading up to the fake legalization in 2018 in Vancouver, and my COVID activism that I've done since then as well too, and speaking out against the jab. So I've lost all my family. There's no way I can live with family, no way I can get a mortgage, as I said, so that leaves us with renting. Now, unfortunately, here in British Columbia, there is a 0% vacancy rate, especially in my area, which is called the Okanagan. It's the south interior section of British Columbia. It's about 4 or 5 hours drive inland from Vancouver. And so here in the area, we actually have families, entire families with children, babies even, pregnant women, and working professionals, people with, like lawyers and doctors and people with money, people with incomes, with nowhere to live. Absolutely nowhere to live. We have people living in their cars. We have people living in their trucks and their campers and RVs parked on the sides of the roads all up and down this town. It's a beautiful town. It's supposedly a vacation destination and a tourist hotspot and a beautiful place, especially in the summer, but it's just covered in people that are homeless right now. And I don't even understand it, because they're constantly building new buildings and new condos, but they're not available to people that live here. They actually are all for plane loads of people that are coming into British Columbia are getting just set up in these massive new buildings, and there's no rentals available in them for anyone else. So it's just absolutely bizarre situation here that I find myself in. People, like I said, they're waiting more than a year in a motel room. They're living out of a motel room, a whole family packed into one little room with all their belongings, either in a friend's house or in a storage unit. Not that you can get a storage unit either anymore here, but they'll wait a year or a year and a half or more before finding just a simple rental, just a little house to rent, to put their kid in, to put their children in. So it's almost like society is breaking down here. We don't have anywhere to live. nobody has anywhere to live, and nobody. It's very hard to get to work in the morning when live in a car or whatever. This is just not right. Like, we are literally breaking down as a society. There's no baby formula in stores, none. What do you do if your wife, for example, like my wife, is not able to breastfeed? She had so much radiation for spinal cancer as a child that now her breasts do not produce the required amount of milk. And so, we have to turn to formula out of a can, and it's unfortunate. But some babies are alive because of formula from stores, and there is none right now. So there's a lot of babies that are in big trouble, including my own, who's 6 months old. We're very, very rapidly working her toward eating solid food. Oh, I hear the train coming, so I'm going to pause this for a minute and come back when the train's done. Okay, I'm back. Maybe I'll be able to get away from that train if I move. We'll see. So I do need to find stability for my toddler, my little boy. His name's Brett. And my little baby girl, she's 6 months old. Her name's Lily. And we ideally need 3 bedrooms, or 2 bedrooms and a den, or maybe a very large 2-bedroom with lots of good storage and stuff. We prefer the Okanagan region, which is, Kelowna, Vernon, Armstrong, etc. But would consider anywhere in BC. It would be a little harder to move, but if we have to get, if we're able to, and if we find somewhere safe, we will consider it. So, and we have money or income. We have income coming in. That's not really the problem. I mean, yes, prices are ridiculously high, but we are thrifty and we are able to stretch our monthly income fairly well. And we're willing to put a large chunk, of course, well over half of our income toward our rent. And so we can pay. It's that's not really the problem. It's just that there's nobody to take the money. There's nobody that will rent. And so, we're not too picky about the place. There's a lot of different situations that would work for us. So we will consider all kinds of different things, but we do need somewhere safe, somewhere stable, and somewhere that's suitable for having a couple of kids. And so please, if you have any specific leads, if you have a friend in that area that's renting a house, or is just any kind of situation where it would work for us, if you can think of anything, just please either comment or send me an email. It's drutter@protonmail.com, drutter@protonmail, and just please, any kind of leads or ideas, even if you have ideas of where to look or what my strategy might be. We just recently got the notice of eviction for landlord's purpose, or whatever it's called. So we were hinted at that it was going to be happening before that. So we've been looking for weeks now, and just absolutely no solid leads whatsoever. Anything suitable for us, it's just not there. The availability is basically zero. So if you have ideas where to look, that would be helpful as well. Websites, for example, that's one of the ways we've been looking. Online classifieds type thing, or even newspapers locally, using various websites like PadMapper and those kind of places that help locate rentals and stuff. We've also been asking around and emailing around in the local freedom community here that we have been getting involved with the past couple of years during the lockdowns and everything. We got involved with the freedom community, so friends of a friend through there and everything. We're asking, just please, everybody, please keep a lookout for us. So that's what how we're looking so far. And but please keep in mind, I do not have a smartphone, and my wife does not have a smartphone, and we will not be getting smartphones, so we don't have the access to certain apps. There's certain apps that a lot of people are using now and not advertising anywhere else, so we're kind of just out of the loop for any of those situations. We just will not use smartphones. It's a line in the sand that we drew about 10 years ago, and we have stuck to that. And so I don't have been banned from Facebook. It's a lifetime ban. We're not allowed back on Facebook in any shape or form. So unless I made a fake account to temporarily use, I cannot get on things like Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. So I don't have those options. And also, neither of us can drive. We're not allowed to operate a car. So I can't just cruise for rentals, for rent signs or anything like that. Those kind of options are not there. We can take walks with the strollers and try and find apartments manually that way, and we will too. But I'm just saying there's a lot of options that we don't have that some people do have. So if you have ideas where we can look, how we can search, or if you have specific leads, I really, really want to hear from you. Please comment or email or whatever on whatever platform you're watching this on. You can either leave a comment there or just email me directly. I would really, really appreciate that, and my wife would really appreciate that. We're stressed out. It's rough, and it's sad because we have money. We are good renters. Even we take care of places. We always pay our rent. We like to take care of the house and the yard and keep things tidy. And we have a couple of kids, but they're not, they're good kids. They don't scream, nothing like that. So it shouldn't be, we don't have pets, we don't smoke. So there are certain advantages. It should be fairly easy to find a place, but it is not. And so I'm reaching out in any way I can. And one of the ways I can is online. I've worked online for 15 years creating content and trying to build up momentum, and of course been heavily restricted in many ways on most mainstream platforms, especially in the past 10 years. So it has been slow going to keep my momentum going and keep people interested in my channel, even with good content. So this is a bit of a long shot, but I want to do anything that I can to find a place and to get us closer to finding a place. We're being very positive. We're trying to just envision what we want, not what we fear could happen, because you do not want to be homeless in November in this area. It gets down to 15 below freezing, and my wife can't even really walk on snow or ice with her spine all fused and stuff. If she falls, it can be a real problem or can kill her. So I just really want to find a stable place for us before that. Her and I were homeless once before in Vancouver after my grandmother died in 2016, and again a little bit in 2017 until we found an apartment down there. There was a really bad situation finding an apartment, and we weren't able to stay at my grandmother's house once she died anymore. So we were homeless as well, and we did even spend some time sleeping under bushes and stuff like that to get through to try and get through. And we finally stabilized and got back on with life and started stabilizing with our health and with our finances. And now this is another setback, but we intend not to be on the street this time because, well, we're 6 years older than we were then, and I'm 47 now. I'm not the young, spry guy I was when I first got into activism at 31 years old or something like that. First got into YouTube and started trying to wake people up long ago now. So I just can't handle it anymore. I have heart problems now. In the past year, I'm having what seems to be myocarditis now. Perhaps transfer from vaccinated people, we don't know. So I don't have diagnosis yet, but I have terrible heart problems now. And I really just want to get my family safe, as soon as possible. So, and yes, I can pay in silver bullion. If you know someone that, through the silver community, whatever, and they actually want to be paid in silver bullion, yes, I can come up with 67 silver maples every month or whatever it's going to be. Actually, this is for a 2-bedroom, actually, the chart I did, so it'll be even more than that. I could come up with whatever it is. I can come up with silver maples. Yes, I can. I can buy them, pay cash and buy the maples and stack it up and hand it over to you if you want it in silver bullion. I could also pay in cryptos. I can pay in cash. I can pay in different forms. But, so, again, my email is drutter@protonmail.com, and, wow, 10 years ago, silver was a completely different situation than it is now. And it's now 3 times the price of rent when priced in silver. It was about 20, now it's over 60. So rent has gone up times 3 just in the past 10 years, when priced in silver bullion. Part of that is the price of rent going up, but a lot of that is the price of silver not keeping up with inflation. And we all know why that is. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and thank you for listening. If you have any specific leads or ideas for where I can look for somewhere to pay and not be outside starting on Halloween, then I would really appreciate that. Thank you very much, and talk to you soon.